Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Iron Triangle and Parchester Village sponsored candidate forum. Today we will have the candidates for the Richmond City Council District 1, which represents the Iron Triangle, mainly the Iron Triangle and a smart part of North and East. And we also will have folks from the West Contra Costa Unified School District Area 2. We will start off with the candidates for the Richmond City Council District 1. But I do want to note that, as you probably can see, unfortunately our incumbent, MELVIN WILLIS, he let us know that he had a family medical emergency and is unable to make it today. But the rest of the candidates, Jamelia Brown and Wassberg, are here today, and you will get to hear from them today questions that have been written based on your input and concerns raised as part of your work in the neighborhood councils. So with that, I'm going to hand it to our moderator today, Don Gosney, and who's also recording, and wanted to also thank him for being the moderator today. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. As you said, my name is Don Gosney. I've been asked to be the moderator for tonight. We have a list of prepared questions and instructions. I'm going to read off some of these things to begin with. And as they say at the beginning of a boxing match, no punching, no gouging, no hits below the belt, stay out of the eyes, walk away. Just because you may disagree on something doesn't mean you have to get in a fight and become violent. All right? And this is being recorded. We post it on YouTube later tonight. All right. I'll just read off some of the instructions real quick, please. Candidates, please turn off your cell phones. Do not use them during the forum. As a matter of fact, no electronic devices will be allowed. Okay. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to present themselves in the opening statement. In this presentation, state your name and your history as far as living and working in District 1, and followed by anything else you wish to highlight. Please include what distinguishes you from your fellow candidates. The order will be, we were going to do this in alphabetical order and then by random, but with only 2 of you, we're just going to go flip-flopping back and forth, starting with Dr. Brown and then going with Wassberg. As far as the questions and debate, there will be only 4 to 7 questions asked for each race. Each question will have a 5 to 10 minute allotment. This allotment for each question will be split into 2 rounds. A countdown clock will be displayed that indicates the amount of time the candidate has left to respond. When you've got only 15 seconds left, start to bring things in. When you complete your time, we'll allow you to finish your sentence as long as it takes less than 5 seconds. Otherwise, I will then ask you to please move on. All right. On round 1 of question 1, starting with a candidate picked at random, which we've already done, we provided 2 minutes to answer the questions, followed by the rest of the candidates in alphabet. And we will have 2 minutes to respond. For example, this is if Dr. Brown goes first, she will be followed by Mr. Wassberg. After each candidate has spoken, that marks the end of round 1. Round 2 of question 1. Starting with a candidate that went first, all candidates will be provided an additional 1 minute. As this is a debate, candidates can rebut one or more candidates' comments from round 1, compare or contrast other candidates' positions, or pass. This time, somebody have their phone on? Please. All right. This time cannot be used to simply elaborate on your round 1 statement, or the moderator may stop you. After each candidate has spoken, that marks the end of round 2. Then we will go into closing statements. After all questions have been asked, each candidate will have 1 minute to close in any manner that they wish. Candidates will close in the exact opposite order used during opening statements. Suggestions for strategies and boundaries. This format allows all of you the chance to comment not only on your own platforms and ideas, but those of your fellow candidates, with time constraints forcing you to be strategic in your responses so that a number of key issues can be covered. Candidates can determine the response strategy they see fit to employ. Candidates will need to be respectful of one another and avoid inappropriate language as well as interruptions. So keep in mind the countdown clock will be displayed that indicates the time left to respond to your questions. When your response is up, the moderator will let you finish your sentence, but will shut you down and shut down all candidates after 5 seconds. And also a reminder to all forum participants and people in the audience here. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Reminder that we all received mail-in ballots from the county. Everyone should have already received their ballot. No need to wait until November 5th to return your completed ballot. Complete it now and send it in early. The ballots can be returned via the U.S. Mail Service with no postage required. As long as it must be postmarked by Election Day. This is the county drop-off boxes. You've got one in the northeast corner of the City Hall Annex. You've got another one on McDonald Avenue, almost right across the street from Foodsco. There are others in San Pablo's, El Sobrante, and El Cerrito, but we won't go into those because you're going to hit something close to home. Early voting locations such as the Richmond Auditorium and Election Day polling places located throughout Richmond are also available. For more information, go to cocovote.us. Are we ready to rumble? You're supposed to say, yes, we are. So I know you're still there. Okay? All right, we'll start off with the first question. And this will be for Dr. Brown?
The introduction, right? The opening statement.
Correct, thank you very much. Start with some opening statements. And again, Dr. Brown, you've got 2 minutes. Are you ready on the clock?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. And greetings, District 1, the Iron Triangle Council, as well as the Parchester Village Council. Thank you so much for hosting this event. My name is Dr. Jamelia Brown, a proud fourth generation resident, born and raised right here in District 1. Actually, right across the street there in the Barrett Apartments. This community isn't just where I grew up, it's where I learned the value of hard work, resilience, and the power of neighbors supporting each other. I've walked these streets, I've gone to the schools in this district, and I face some of the same challenges many of you have faced in this room. While I have earned my doctorate in social work and built a career helping people throughout California, my heart has always remained in District 1. I've seen too often how we've been overlooked and underserved, and I am running for council to change that. I'm not just here to represent, but I am here to fight for the resources, for the opportunity, and for the attention that this district deserves. My vision is simple, but it's powerful. Safer streets, greater engagement, and more affordable housing, and a thriving local economy. I am not a politician. I am a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a neighbor, and I'm someone who's ready to ensure that our community finally gets the investments it needs. Together we can build a better District 1, one where everyone is heard and no one is left behind. Let's make our district a priority and getting the respect and resources that we once and finally deserve, because we deserve it, we're worthy of it. It's been far too long that that folks are monopolizing off of our struggles, and we have yet to see the outcome of that or the fruits from that. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Reset. No, hit stop first. Okay. We'll get this figured out. Don't worry about it, folks. All right, Mr. Wassberg, opening statement.
Well, I was raised in San Pablo as a youth, went to Richmond High School, worked in Richmond all my life, became a factory worker, then I became an automotive technician, worked at Chevron. I know what the community here in Iron Triangle has been going through. I seen it. I seen the homicides, I seen the beatings, I seen the shootings. Majority of the homicides are right out here on 4th and McDonald. I said, the problem is the city council. This is why Richmond is not flourishing. because they want to destroy big business. They want to implement their own type of government. And I know how to fight the RPA. And I'll guarantee you I will fight them till the end. Because they know that they're scared of me. Because I'll take care of business. I remember in 2004 I was at Nation's hamburger stand and Andre Shumay came up to me and goes, "Hey Mark, what are you doing?" I said, "I just got laid off." He goes, "Why don't you help me on my TV show?" I said, "Sure." So I was at the Black Crime Summit in 2004, a state of emergency in 2005, Tent City 2006 and 7, and Operation Richmond, where I helped pack 10,000 Bibles at the Luke Assembly Church with Pastor Bias. We need to have big business coming in. The more people are working, the less crime and the less homeless you will have. But right now, the city council does not want that. They're destroying good paying jobs. See, this is why big business is not coming in, because of the taxes. They're taxing the Hades out of Chevron and in other big businesses. You have to have growth. If you don't have growth, the city is doomed. Because I know I used to work factory work. I made good money at Chevron, and now they want to close Chevron down.
Thank you very much. We're going to go into the questions, starting off once again with Dr. Brown. Question number 1 has to deal with public safety. It's a two-part question. District 1 continues to be disproportionately adversely impacted by crime and violence. The district had a couple of homicides this past summer that really shook the community, and the district continues to have the highest concentration of shootings, according to ShotSpotter. What policies do you think have failed and why? The second part, what policies do you think have succeeded and why? Ms. Brown.
Thank you. I think the shift away from a fully functioning, fully operating police department really shifted our city. It was, we don't need police, we can police ourselves, we need alternative measures, and growing up in this neighborhood, I'm the first one to let you know we need police officers here. Safety looks so different across districts. When you go to to another district, and they feel safe enough to walk outside, go to the store, that's fine. But many residents can attest in District 1 that safety doesn't look the same, and we don't feel protected. So I believe that the greater shift really shook our city. And it's not that we don't need those alternative solutions, because we absolutely do. And I know that it's been said that a great amount of our budget is allocated to our police department, but how can you put a price tag on safety? We had 3 individuals killed on 7th in Pennsylvania. One of them was a pregnant young lady by the name of Jamelia Brown, who lost her life by just going to the store to get candles for her grandmother's birthday. And her mom was able to make it to the scene before our police officers. That's an issue. So we can't put a price tag on safety. So if it takes the majority, more than half of our budget, to make sure that our residents are safe, that's what it's going to take. I can't have a person that sits in front of me who doesn't embody the same struggles of their child leaving the house and not being, not having that, is my son going to come home? If you don't have that fear, then you can't tell me what we need for our community. And so that's where I stand. I believe that it's not a this or that, it's a this and that. We need a fully staffed police department, as well as alternative solutions to not overburden our current department.
Thank you very much. And just so the audience knows, the candidates have a set of the questions sitting in front of them, so they can read them as we go along, so we don't have to keep repeating the question. Mr. Wassberg, same question for you.
Well, the city council, they funded the police. They went on, ever since they started burning down America, the city council has the dumb idea that they don't need the police, that they're going to have some type of social workers go down there and confront these thugs that's been hanging around in District 1. You gotta have to realize something. For the last 20 years, the Iron Triangle has been the most dangerous place in Richmond. I know, I was there, I was with all the activists. The African American community has been hit hard for the last 20 years. I'm going to be honest with you people, you got 370 homicides, blacks killing blacks. I know, I was there. For 6 years I've seen it. And we need more police, you need to bring in jobs. The more people have the job skill to work in, the less crime you're going to have. You're going to have a program with the youth to stop these youngsters going out and being a bunch of thugs. The average shooter right now is between 16 and 25, and African American. It's all true. I've been there, people. I can tell you the whole thing what went on during that time for the last 20 years. You just had a triple homicide. You have to convince these kids not to go out and be a thug, to get them into a job training program right after high school. So they have some type of morals, so they can be a law-abiding citizen. Because the African American community is losing. Totally, this is why the voters is down. I mean, it's I look at was it Richmond High? You look at Kennedy. How many African Americans people you see? How many kids you see there? Look at Verde School. It's half Latino. I'm not being precious. I'm just stating fact that the black community is losing. See, this is why you need to start getting these young kids into the job training programs.
Thank you, Mr. Wassberg. Big change. We're now going to give you 2 minutes for a rebuttal instead of just 1. We're selfish though, because it makes it easier to set the clock. As I mentioned, we are video recording this right now. Right now, you are both at the far extreme edges of there. You got nothing but a big wide open spaces. Can you scoot maybe 1 foot towards the center? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. As far as a response to what you heard either from Dr. Brown or from what you've heard from Mr. Willis, Mr. Wassberg.
Well, I kind of agree on most of the things that Brown said, but you know, having like a community policing, that doesn't work at all. I mean, even the police chief laughed at it when you have these social workers going out there with the cops and think they're going to confront these thugs. She even said it was a joke. You know, but like I say, you know, Brown has some good ideas, which I respect. But the bottom line is, I don't buy this social policing, because police are trained to take care of business. They train to arrest criminals, all right? They're not out to be social workers or anything like that.
Thank you. Dr. Brown.
The only concern that I do have is our sitting council member not being visible enough in our community. We see a lot of visibility during election time. However, if there's a family, there's families that are in need, there's families that are being impacted by violence, and they need to know who they can turn to. And many people don't know who he is, and so that's a problem. That's a problem when you go through District 1 and you don't see many of his campaign signs around because, like, you're not interacting with this side. Like, this side is too much. But then when you go towards the Bellevue Woods area, it's a lot of high traffic and things like that. So my only issue when it comes to safety in this community is for someone who has vowed to represent us, not stepping up. When other police chiefs and other folks say that our young people are at the wrong place at the wrong time when they're right here at home, and you don't try to redirect that narrative, that's a problem for me. As our local politician, you should be on the forefront of all of these issues when it's impacting the district that you represent.
Thank you very, very much. We're going to switch the order for the next question on economic development. We all know that we want places to shop, we want places to work, we want places that'll bring in revenue to the city as far as taxes. So another set of questions here. District 1 is home to economic corridors like the Richmond Main Street Initiative and 23rd Street. We recently lost the executive director at Richmond Main Street, and El Garage recently closed. Now the question, What is your specific plan to generate additional economic development and attract businesses to District 1? And then what will you do to support existing businesses? Mr. Wassberg.
Well, first of all, you're gonna have a safe city. Businesses are not gonna come here if the city is violent. And we know for a fact, look, you're gonna have to, I'm gonna be honest with you people, Central Richmond is gone. You can't have no businesses here because it's too violent. It's what I'm trying to tell you. Companies are not gonna be coming in here. You can't have nothing going here. Take a look up and down the street here, down on 23rd. What do you see? You don't see no businesses. If I want to have a good meal or a BLT, I have to go to El Sobrani. I have to go to San Pablo. Because actually, you're going to have to realize something. When all the businesses were closing down, they was moving up to Hilltop. Downtown Richmond is gone. It'll never be the same as it was back in the day when I used to go down to Penny's, Woolworths, the Fox Theater. Some of you old folks remember that, right? But like I say, if you're going to change, you're going to have to make the city safe, and you're going to have to get rid of the city council. It's the city council that's doing this. They don't want business to come in here. They're anti-business, anti-police. Everything you think of, they're anti because they want to implement their own type of government. This is what they've been doing for the last, ever since 2005 when the RPA took over Richmond. I know, I've been fighting the RPA for the last 15 years. I know how these people operate. But you're going to have to change the community. You're going to have to convince these kids not to hang out at the smoke shops. You know, you take a look at right over here in the park. They're doing drugs. They're doing alcohol. I mean, businesses are not going to come in here. When I go out of town, they say, where are you from? I said, Richmond. Oh, Virginia? I said, no, California. They kind of look at me like that there. I said, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You know, I mean, but see, it's the reputation that Richmond had for the last 20 years.
Thank you, Mr. Wassberg. I know you've got something to say about this, Dr. Brown. Tell us.
I think that a lot of the recent focus has been moving away from fossil fuel-based economy into more green jobs and things of that nature. While I think that's amazing to have a sustainable economy, however, we cannot lose our residents in the midst of all of that. Also, you know, because we are reliant on Chevron, which everyone's anti, yet they contribute so much to our general fund. So what do we need to do before we start trying to move away from, you know, the reliance on Chevron? We need new revenue in our city. And much of what Mr. Wassberg said is that we need businesses to come in and feel safe operating in our communities. We need to, in order to attract new businesses, we have to clean our city up. It is completely disgusting. If I want to sit outside and eat, no one wants to sit outside and have their meal on, you know, a patio or something and smell urine or feces and things of that nature. Richmond has just become this anything goes type of city. You can come to Richmond and do whatever you absolutely want to do. And yet the only people that I see time after time being penalized and suffering those consequences are the residents of this community. The current council is not listening. They won't listen to the community. As an elected official, as a future elected official, we're working for you. So despite our own moral compass and despite what we want and what we feel is best for Richmond, Richmond residents are the ones who should be driving the vehicle and not these environmentalist groups who are trying to come into our communities and, you know, changing the narrative and pushing folks further and further out. And I feel like we just need to hone in on that, support local startup businesses. We have a Richmond auditorium that is absolutely no activity. It's a prime place to generate entertainment and business. We have a lot of places here in Richmond.
Thank you very much. Now we'll give you an opportunity, Dr. Brown, to respond to anything that Mr. Wassberg has said on this, plus whatever you think that Mr. Willis has said.
Yes, I mean, Mr. Willis voted to put Measure U on the ballot to tax, you know, the narrative was tax big businesses. All the money is going to go into youth programs. all these alternative solutions, fill in the potholes, and everything. And so it's like, where is that money and where are we seeing it reflected in our communities? There's so much, it's like they're almost playing a game of Monopoly down there at City Hall. There's so many millions that they're just shifting over here, shifting over here, shifting over there, yet it's never being, I don't see it reflected outside these walls. And that's an issue for me. So I really want us to hone in on tracking where our money is being spent and putting it back into our communities. So much of what Mr. Wassberg said about inviting businesses in, but before we can invite businesses in, we have to want to do right by our businesses. We have to stop overtaxing them, because we know historically whenever Richmond gets in some sort of financial crunch, they create a new tax. And it seems like they create it around election time. I've noticed the trend, and so it's like it's getting old and it's very stale, and we need to do what we need to do about inviting new businesses and generating new tax, especially if we're going to move away from relying so much on Chevron.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Mr. Wassberg.
Well, Brown talks about these green jobs, so you might forget about it. It ain't gonna happen. Was it that Sun Power just filed bankruptcy and they're going out of business? Now you're gonna tell me all these green jobs are gonna take the place of Chevron? When Chevron pays almost 50% of the budget, they got good paying jobs, professional jobs. You tell me what green jobs are gonna do to take the place of Chevron. Who's gonna make the asphalt to fix the roads? Who's gonna make the tires for the cars and the bicycles? Who's gonna make the lubricants so you can ride your bicycle and you're gonna get away from fossil fuels? It'll never happen. The day we get rid of fossil fuels, that's the day the United States become still. You won't be able to go nowhere. Believe me. Once you get on your bicycles for a month and see how it is without your car. Don't take the bus because it's fossil fuel. So just ride your bicycle about 10 miles to work or ride in the rain. You see how this thing's happening here? And it's the city council that's doing it. They even admitted within 3 years they want to get rid of Chevron. That's it. They're gone. So who's going to replace it? They're brainwashing you people and believing all these green jobs are going to come in and people are going to live happily ever after. It ain't going to happen. See, this is what I'm trying to convince you people, that you have to have fossil fuel. Look, we got enough oil to last us till a lifetime. We got so much oil we don't even know what to do with. And the bottom line is we need to get the RPA out. Now, the RPA Willis, this guy said lie and lie and lie about everything. It was unbelievable. Because like I say, during election time, they wanted to hurry and pass this tax on Chevron to make it look good, like they're going to do, build youth programs. They're going to do this and they're going to do that. It ain't going to happen. Because the problem is...
Thank you, Mr. Wassberg. Time has expired. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw it red. My apologies.
That's fine.
That's right.
You give me an extra 5 seconds.
Everybody's been getting a few extra while we had trouble with the clocks.
Yes.
And one little reminder, please. The second phase of each of these questions is supposed to be rebutting what you've heard from your opponents, not going off on completely different information. Well, it's just we're stretching the outside of the envelope just a little bit, so I just try to rein it back in. Thank you very much. All right, and we're going on to question number 3, Dr. Brown, on homelessness. District 1 is home to 2 major nonprofits that serve Richmond's homeless communities. Richmond Rescue Mission, actually East Bay Rescue Mission, and GRIP, the Greater Richmond Interfaith Program. District 1 also had the huge Castro Street encampment. What is your specific plan to address Richmond's homelessness problem, which is disproportionately impacting areas like the Iron Triangle, Santa Fe, Parchester Village, and North Richmond? Dr. Brown.
Yeah, so the homeless crisis is real here in Richmond. And speaking of GRIP, they were recently at the council asking for more funding. That should be a given. They are the only emergency shelter service here in West County. They actually revamped their dining area each and every night to bring in cots, about 20 to 25 cots that I learned on our tour of their shelter. And it's just really disheartening to see how programs like that have to constantly reappear and ask for more funding when you see, again, millions are allocated to programs that are not sustainable. Taking our homeless population, putting them in hotels is not sustainable, yet we're constantly spending lots of money on that. Even with the Motel 6 conversion that is going to be able to house 40 plus unhoused people, and initially it was about 4.9 million towards that project from the Home Key program, and then literally overnight they're talking about 20 some odd million, and we're spending 20 plus million in one area for 40 units. I mean, I've seen a lot of remodels, but I don't think that there's a restoration that fancy that needs to take 20 million for 40 units. Also in Richmond, we have about 430 surplus properties here in Richmond, and of those 430, there are 17 of those properties that are ready to build affordable housing on. And Richmond has made a lot of progress with affordable housing. However, the question still remains, can we do more? And the answer is yes. And in order to combat the crisis, we have to be more aggressive with building. We have to activate these SOLVE projects, and we have to, do more, essentially. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wassberg.
Well, I was homeless for 16 years. I went to GRIP. I spent about 10 years at GRIP. I went down to the rescue mission. Before you eat, you go to church, say, you listen to Bible study, and then you eat. These camplands, the city council is supporting these homeless camplands. They even gave them a catering service in the mornings, and they want these people to live like this. They haven't did one thing to get them into a job training program or do anything. See, this is what they want to do. They want to make Richmond a welfare city. This is why they're taxing Chevron and all these big businesses so they could make these homeless people live luxury. Now, they talk about Motel 6. Now, they're going to turn it into a condo. Most of these homeless people don't want to work. All they want to do is a freebie. At these homeless campus, not one person was willing to go out and look for a job. And this is what the city council wants. It's just a person could better their life if they want. I know, I did it. Now you look at me. I wore the same clothes for almost 2 weeks. I went to the doctor about once a month because I had jock itch. I had acne's feet. I was totally a mess. But I cleaned myself up. See, a person can help themselves, but see, these people are just totally worthless. Some of these people, you cannot do nothing. You go down the Social Security building, just right down the street, what do you see? Every day, they're just sitting there drinking and doing drugs. They got garbage over there. You see pissy shit on the excuse me, you see human waste on the sidewalks. They're just sitting there. These people, if I had my way, I would just totally spread them out. Take them to Oakland, to San Francisco, move them down to Los Angeles. But if a person would have better their life, sure, we will help you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go into a rebuttal. With the limited amount of time that we have left, we don't want to cut you off. We want to get as many questions in as possible. I'm just going to ask on a voluntary basis. Don't use your full 2 minutes, if you can. That way we get to more questions in. All right, Mr. Wassberg, as far as rebuttal.
Well, I think Brown has some good ideas, but like I say, I don't agree with her on everything because I can't. Because we're running against each other, right? So, but I'm sure she's a social worker. I'm so she's working with people. But like I say, you got to help. You got to be willing to help yourself. And see, and this is what Brown did not talk about. She didn't talk about getting into a job training program, helping people. If you want to help, sure, we will help you. But she didn't talk about this.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Brown.
Yes, as a social worker, I come from a housing first standpoint. So so that's why I didn't harp about job training and things of that nature. People need to feel safe. Maslow's hierarchy of need is safety first. Housing is first and foremost. And also with the incumbent who often boasts about reopening the hacienda. And my question is, like, well, how often do you visit the hacienda? Because I had a recent visit there where I did a voter education and registration event, and they were talking about recent sparks of infestation in there, limited parking, 150 units, but only a parking lot that can maybe fit about 15, 20 cars. So that's a huge issue as well. And so it's like, yes, we put up this amazing, I mean, I saw the original hacienda. I've lived in Richmond all my life. But to see the new hacienda, it looks amazing on the outside. But if it's just an amazing building and we're not, you know, helping our senior citizen population, then that's what it is, just an amazing building. I had an opportunity to go around and I see their vending machines with like hot chips and sodas and things like that, and no healthy options at all. Their senior services and activities have been cut and things like that. So when I hear our incumbent boast about having opened up this, having reopened hacienda, I asked, well, have you been to hacienda? It's great to open something, but you have to make sure that it's maintained and the people in it are thriving. And so a lot of the residents that I had an opportunity to encounter, which was over about 50, say that they're not thriving, and that's a concern for me. Say that they are, you know, working in mental health and in the addiction field. When people start using substances around recovering people, that tends to be a trigger. And so just making sure that those services are available to our seniors and don't just shove them into a building and just think that it's okay and that they'll just go away. But they need help.
Thank you very much. I believe it's Mr. Wassberg's time to...
He already went.
What?
He already went on the homeless.
Next question.
Oh, next question, sorry.
All right. Smoke shops. A large number of smoke shops have recently opened on McDonald Avenue and 23rd Street, and in many cases targeting our youth with tobacco and marijuana products. Question number one, what do you believe caused the smoke shops to grow so quickly? And question number two, what specific plans do you have to address this problem affecting District 1? Mr. Wassberg.
First of all, I live at the hacienda, so I know what's going on.
Stick to this question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But all these smoke shops, you had a double homicide right down on 23rd Street. If I had my way, I would close them all down. All you gotta do is a bunch of thugs hanging out there. I see it every day. I said you have 3 smoke shops. Actually, you got 4 smoke shops on McDonald Avenue. You have 3 smoke shops on 23rd Street. The only thing I see is a bunch of thugs hanging out there, sitting there and smoking dope and stuff like that, hanging out, loitering around. See, this is why you have so much problems with the smoke shops. Actually, you know, you have a smoke shop, so you want to go down buy a paraphernalia to smoke your weed, smoke your hash. You can probably buy some stuff to smoke your crack with, and all that other stuff. I mean, actually, they're just poisoning our society. This is what they're doing. We don't need them. Richmond's a lot better off without them. If I had my way, I would close them down. Because they're just all they are is just a headache. And we don't know how many smoke shops are operating without a business license. I see one of them just opened up recently on 23rd Street. Now, I don't know if this guy has any business license or going through the codes or whatever he has to do. But, you know, face it, there's just a menace to the neighborhood. People talk about, oh, you can't buy tobacco. I said, they're worried about more tobacco than they're buying the weed. This weed now you smoke, I can smell it a mile away. This stuff is so potent, man, I even get it. This guy was on the bus, he just got done smoking a blunt. He got on the bus, and I was sitting there getting a contact high. So I had to move in front of the bus. You see what I'm saying? All they're doing is poisoning the young kids, they're causing trouble. Just go down and look at it yourself. See what kind of people hang out there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown.
So the question said, do you believe, what do you believe caused the smoke shops to grow so quickly? Oversight, not being visible in your district. Had you been visible in your district, you would see that a smoke shop was popping up every other, week or so. It took for many of us to come down here to this neighborhood council meeting and say, hey, I'm substitute teaching at Levanya DeJohn, and when I turn my back to write on the board, I'm smelling flavored strawberries, bananas, things of that nature in the air. I'm seeing young kids smoking puff bars and things like that during passing period and stuff. So I came to the neighborhood council meeting and was like, hey, what's going on? And it took the neighborhood council team to escalate it to get the moratorium in place. Otherwise, had the neighborhood council not did what they did, we would still be seeing more and more continue to pop up around. 2018, there was a ban on flavored tobacco and nicotine, yet you can go and walk into any smoke shop and buy a pack of whatever you need. And so that's what we're dealing with. That's what they'll do in our communities because they can do it here. Nobody's going to say anything.
That's right.
They're not going to go to Hilltop and put a smoke shop on every corner, but they're going to come down here to the Iron Triangle. And I like to work out from time to time, but I could literally run to 7 smoke shops in under 5 minutes. That's a problem. It's a problem when our kids have too much accessibility. And also, not only the smoke shops, they got a truck now that just tours around the neighborhood and opens up the back, and there it's like a mobile smoke shop. So it's like, what are we doing? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As far as rebuttals, Dr. Brown.
We need to do better in terms of, we're talking about these smoke shops being in our area. We're talking about the fact that we know that too many went above someone's head, yet they're still able to own and operate here. So it's like, did something really happen? No, they just opened another one, Lucky Smoke Shop on 23rd. Yep. So it's like, all they have to do is change the wording of what they sell within the store. But yet there's still a whole smoke shop, but they sell a couple hats or some clothes, and yet they're able to still operate. So again, the oversight in our council not having boots on the ground. It's easy to come around during election time with all these elevated promises of what we're gonna do and but it's gonna take us to fix what's going on in our neighborhoods because we know and we are most impacted. We are the experts of our neighborhoods. They can't come tell us what's going on in the Iron Triangle or in Belgian Woods. We know what's going on. So I'm gonna stop right there because I feel like my blood pressure is escalating.
Well, we don't want that, so let's go ahead and move on over to Mr. Wassberg.
The city council don't care about nothing. They just want the money. They just want to go ahead and get the taxes. That's all they care about. Look how many businesses down on 23rd Street here in Richmond was operating without a license. You can just open up a business anywhere. You don't have to go through the city council. Look down on 23rd Street. I helped the Latina community get the merchants out because they was operating without a license. Cash money. That's all it was. But like I say, the community is going to have to get together and tell these people on the city council that we don't want these smoke shops. And you go in there, you can buy your gangster hats, your C hats, and all these other hats that these thugs and gangsters are wearing. I see it every day. We don't need them.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to take yourself a 30-second breather while I confer with
Last question.
I do.
No, I didn't.
Okay. We have run a little bit longer than we expected. We're only halfway through on the questions, but we've got another forum ready to start, so we're going to only have one more question and then your closing statements. We're going to go to question number 6, measure J and measure L. In this election, Richmond voters will have an opportunity in deciding how city officials are elected. Measure J would move the city to a primary system where a majority of votes are needed to be elected, while Measure L would move the city to a ranked choice system. Which measure, if any, do you support and why? Mr. Wassberg, it's your turn to start.
Well, I don't support Measure L because most of you people don't even know what it is. How many people here in this room can explain Measure L, ranked voting? Tell me, you really know ranked voting? Everybody I talk to out in the street don't even say, what? What's ranked voting? I said, go ahead and look it up. I had this one guy tell me it took me almost 2 hours to figure it out. Then about next day I couldn't even figure it out again. It was all just a scam to trick the people because the average person don't even know what they're talking about. They don't understand. Now on the primaries, all it is a way to limit people running for office. You see what I'm saying? My own personal opinion, everybody has a right to run, as long as you qualify. But see, they don't want everybody to run. The most popular guy, the most people who have the most money, they're gonna get in. You take the average guy right off the street, he don't stand a chance. But they don't care. They just want certain. It's called the process of elimination. You get rid of the people and you put the people in. Got the money, got the fame, got the power. See, but like I say, on this ranked voting, majority of people don't know what it is. They can't explain it. All they're going to do is look at the ballot. Oh, that looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it. You see, even though when you go home, you look at this ranked voting, you still ain't going to understand it. This is the way these smart people, these professional lawyers, you got con men, they're writing this stuff. They're writing it in a language that you people do not understand. Because lawyers write in their own different language. And I guarantee you, you look it up, you still won't understand ranked voting. So that's why I'm against it.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Brown, tell us what you think.
Yes, I just want to make a correction, because during the League of Women Voters forum, I said that I was for ranked choice voting. And that was during a time where I didn't understand which measure was which. And so I just want to correct that. I am not for ranked choice voting. I am actually in favor of Measure J. Measure J is from the voice of the people. Over 15,000 signatures put Measure J on the ballot. And to go against that, the City Council, with their unique and strategic way of doing things, voted to put Measure L on the ballot. It was not what the people wanted. And so that's what we need to, again, not listening. We need to make sure that we are listening to the people and their requests and what they want. And again, Measure L is a very confused, no matter how much they try to simplify it in their diagrams and things like that, it's very confusing and it isn't straightforward. Again, with Measure J, we are already accustomed to a primary election, so it wouldn't be so off-putting. But moreover, we have a district with 20,000 residents in District 1, and there are only 7,500 registered voters in this district. Instead of trying to come against which measure you want to support, let's scale back to voter education. Let's get folks in our communities registered so we can have a say in what's going on in shifting our future in Richmond. So I would really, really press upon the council to look more into voter education, because I'm still explaining district elections to individuals, and that happened in 2020. Folks do not even know what district they're in. That's a problem. So now you want to try to implement a whole another situation. It's insane.
Thank you very much. Considering what your opponents, Mr. Wassberg, has said and what Mr. Willis has said, do you have a rebuttal to their way of thinking?
I learned that Mr. Willis's stance is to go with the ranked choice voting. Of course he's going to go with that. I mean, it's RPA related. And that's the problem that we have too with this district. We need a leader who's an independent thinker. We need a leader who's not just an organizer, but a prioritizer, someone who's gonna prioritize the needs of our residents. I don't care what I believe in. If the residents want to go in this direction, who am I to impede on that? That's not my job, that's not my responsibility. My job and what I signed up for is to be a representative of the people of District 1 and the city overall. But if you want it to be that way, why run for city council? Because, your own personal ideology along with your different groups that you're aligned with, it's gonna be very difficult to make decisions for the people if you are aligned with a group that's not allowing you to think freely.
And Mr. Wassberg, tell us what you think.
Well, first of all, the RPA was behind the whole thing. Willis, everybody on the city council was behind it. They're running as a team. They don't want nobody on that city council except RPA. Everybody should know that by now. See, this is why when they came up with district voting, each member on the city council lives in a different district because they do not want competition with each other. This is what you call like a communist regime, Marxist regime. You see what I'm saying? They're running as a team. Now you have 3 RPA members running on the same ideas. Nothing changes. See, this is what I'm saying. They do not want anybody on that city council that's not RPA. And if you're not RPA, you don't stand a chance because you're not going to get the votes. All right? Okay, let's just say I'm elected, right? And I'm going in front of the RPA. I don't vote their way. Well, I lose. But see, I can follow lawsuits. If I find they're not respecting our constitutional laws, I can file a lawsuit. But the bottom line is, this is what the RPA, the city council, is doing. And they're trying to act like they're the good guy. They're trying to act like we're out here to support the community. We gave these children, we gave 500 jobs to the youth. But they didn't tell you who was the youth. They didn't tell you who was the young people. All just they said, well, we created 500 jobs. We're going to do this. We're going to get all this money from Chevron, blah, blah, blah. That's it. It's all a bunch of nonsense. See what I'm saying? This is what they want to be on the city council, and they've been doing this for almost 7, 8 years, ever since McLaughlin became mayor. She got all her RPA people together, and she brainwashed the community in believing only the RPA is doing good for the city of Richmond, but it's not. See, this is just a scam.
Thank you very much. We are done with our questions. We're going to give you an opportunity for a closing statement, and I'm just going to reinforce what the people behind me and the audience here want to know is, why should we vote for you? So that's what perhaps you might want to focus on. Mr. Wassberg, closing statement.
I said, well, I respect Brown, but the only problem is she's never been at any city council meetings. She's never been anywhere. She never spoke on any issues. Even in Tom Butt's email, he even said that Brown never spoke at the city council. She's never been to any rallies to stop the violence. She was at Tent City there. But anything else, she hasn't been nowhere. I've been everywhere. I've been going to the city council meetings talking about every issue you could think of. I know how the RPA works. I could beat the RPA. But you need somebody on there that's going to fight these people. And believe you me, if you go back and look at some of the city council meetings on the open forum, are you going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? That I don't know about what's going on in the community? I know what's going on in the community. But you can't have people in office when they haven't been anywhere. What really gets me during election time, they say, oh, I love Richmond. They pop up and say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But like I say, if you are not an RPA member on that city council, you don't stand a chance. But I know how to beat the RPA. I've been dealing with these people for the last 14 years. I know how these people operate. But like I say, I will be honest with you, people will vote for race, okay? That's how it all happens. You know, you don't, I said, you vote people who you're gonna trust. Okay, that's the bottom line. And I say, go to my Facebook, you go to my TV show, see every Sunday night on channel 26 Comcast at 10:30. I have a public access show, Tell Like It Is. You will know everything you want to know about the election, on what's going on with the violence here in Richmond, with the election. I do a complete half-hour show on it. That's every Sunday night on channel 26 Comcast at 10:30.
Thank you very much. Your closing statement, Dr. Brown.
Yes, I've been fighting for change in this city since I was 16 years old. One of the first charter schools, Barbara Alexander Academy, I raised over $10,000 to keep those doors open. The Sims family ran that school. So yeah, I've been to a lot of city council meetings advocating for change. And advocating doesn't mean going to city council meetings screaming or offending people. It means you can do the advocacy work behind the scenes. Also, I want to spend this time thanking the Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council and Parchester Council for hosting us tonight. And as a fourth generation Richmond resident, I've lived through the highs and lows of this city, and I know the challenges that our communities face. And with the deep passion for service and the residents of Richmond, I'm running for change to ensure our neighborhoods are no longer overlooked and underserved. I do have an extensive background in human services and mental health, and with a doctorate in social work, which I believe gives me a greater understanding than my opponents on these issues, on the complexities of our communities, and the ability to bring effective solutions, to meet those challenges with solutions. And I'm ready to serve. And I'm ready to serve, not just to serve the community, but serve in partnership. Serve in partnership, I think is very crucial as a member on the council and of this community, and to continue to uplift and strengthen our district. And what I've witnessed throughout this campaign cycle is that what needs to be done in our community is going to take us to do it. So again, I welcome your support. I thank you for the ones that have already supported and the ones that continue to support. And if elected, I will be happy to serve. And if this doesn't go in my favor, I'm just so thankful for the relationships and things that I've built along this cycle. It's just, it's invaluable. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wassberg and Dr. Brown, for meeting with us here tonight. I also want to thank the Iron Triangle and Parchester Village Neighborhood Councils for hosting this event. One of the biggest problems that we have in any election is people getting their ballot and marking off their candidates or the issues without being able to make an informed decision. The best way to make an informed decision is to actually meet with the candidates and hear what they have to say. We should have forums every night, because there's a lot more about all of you that we all need to know. But thank you very much for coming tonight, and we will move on to our next forum.
Thank you.
Thank you again.